Hello everyone, we're back at the squid farm area now. I think we have figured out this is where we are going to build it here. Right here will be the first squid chamber, and I'm thinking right out there is going to be the second squid chamber. Somewhere around in that area, close enough that I can sit somewhere right over here and have them both spawning at the same time. I built partial wall around it with cobblestone. I need to be careful when I'm digging out these parts, like right there, because we're probably going to run into some water issues, but I may put sand around the outside while I continue along. But in the meantime, we are just filling it up with sand. Fortunately, we are in a big desert. And fortunately, I had a couple of stacks of sand in a chest up yonder in one of my shulker chests. I had a couple of stacks, so I was able to use that, and we're doing this the old school way. When it comes to drying out the rivers, I'm definitely going to go borrow people's sponges to do that. Borrow the sponges that Mindfiend and Dwindon have. But until that time, the little tank areas here, they're not that big and that terrible, so we'll just keep doing it the old school way. Lord knows on the very first server that Dwindon and me and Keeber were ever on, and as you see, lots of squid, and I've already killed a few and got 16 ink sacs there. So, yeah. But yeah, the first server we were ever on, I built a underwater little house and spent my entire time filling it in with sand like this. So I'm used to this kind of building technique in water. So we'll see how it goes. I am so glad that Mindfiend didn't have to do this with the Guardian Temple. That's how he did his Guardian Temple on his single player world, was filling the whole thing in with sand. As he says, it took about 6 months to build, several months. In this case, I'm not going to have to do that. I've just got to fill out in this little area here and do it for the other one, and the rest of the river and everything else we will dry up the modern efficient way with sponges. I'll just build sand walls and dry it out that way in between them. So back to working it out. We are going to get down here and go back to now that I got actual high level walls, dang it, let's see if we can do it this way. There we go. Takes a little practice. There. Much better, much quicker. You gotta get that timing just right, so just as it's breaking, you're taking it off. And have it come on down. Yeah, taking the walls down is going to be a lot quicker than putting them up was. Okay, so y'all see what I'm going to be doing. I need to get my clock out here, so I can keep an eye on it until when the sun's about to set. And get back out there. Alright, this one isn't an outside. Yeah, the last thing I want to do is break that outside wall and have the water come pouring in on me. But the best part is that as I dry it down and dig down to the dirt and all, I've gotten yet more sand. So, yay. Ooh. Alright, that's something I haven't done in a long time. When's the last time you saw someone balance a stack on top of a torch? That took some timing. Oh, and yeah, as you see by my bar, I've had a couple of fights with pigmen who've come through the nether portal over there. Mindfiend was telling me about that. He said, you're going to get pigmen. I was like, yeah, I think I need to build a fence or something around it so they don't go wandering off and get into trouble. Okay. As soon as we get this daytime again, I will be working on some more sand, but just to show y'all where we were. And I will see y'all probably when we get this finished filled in and get back to digging at that point. And I'll let y'all know how it's coming. We're not sure where that Gnarlo drown thing came from there. Not really sure. We can just kind of ignore it. It probably was a server glitch that put it on there, but Anyhow, I went up there into my box. I was thinking about, right before that happened, going back to the hive and getting me some more meat and that sort of thing. But then I had a little accident while I was planting the kelp out here. You'll see the kelp is growing quite nicely because we're going to need quite a bit of it whenever we're building the insides of the squid farm here. So yeah, I had a little accident and brought me back up and went up yonder and got my fishing rod and came down here and started fishing. And we've got a little bit, so we won't be out of food anymore. And that will be nice because, unfortunately, as y'all will remember, the old saying that everyone knows, that if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but if you teach a man a fish, he never gets to get his ass out, take a break and get his ass out of the damn desert. He just has to keep working all the time. We have returned here. As you see, we're just in the shadow of the desert temple over there. We're at high noon. We are still working away at the squid farm. I was hoping to be further along than this, but I was sick as a dog yesterday. Had all sorts of stomach problems, vomiting and everything, so we ended up not getting to do hardly anything yesterday. Of course, we were always also expecting Lotro to be back on too, and that didn't happen either, so we're still waiting for that to come back up. I was hoping to get a couple of Lotro episodes done while I'm off, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen either. Anyway, here's our first squid pit done. Goes all the way down to level 22. And I was amazed at how little, I was talking to Mindfiend this morning, how few resources I got out of it. I got about 24 pieces of iron ore and a little over a dozen, maybe a dozen and a half chunks of coal. And that was it out of that entire pit there. I tell you, it's a lot like the old early alpha days. If y'all remember Castle Gnarlo, that's the kind of stuff. If you drove a pit like that down in Castle Gnarlo and only got about 24 iron and a dozen coal or so, you would have thought you were extremely lucky because that was a big haul back then. But that's the first pit dug. I'm going to make another one, a second one right over here. So we'll have 2 of them underway. And we'll have 2 nice squid droppers. We'll go on down to the bottom and take a look at what we have. And as you see, there's another pit. I'm starting to dig right in the center, a 4x4 pit. And in each corner, there's a dispenser that is going to have a bucket of water in it. Let me see, do I have any water buckets? Sorry, had a little random crash there. Hopefully that's not going to happen again. But yeah, each corner has got a dispenser. Yeah, I don't have any water buckets on me. They're all upstairs in the chest. So there's going to be a water bucket in each one of these, and there's going to be a redstone timer set up that's going to connect to each one of the dispensers on both of these droppers. And every so often we'll fire out a bucket of water, or the water from the bucket, which is going to wash all the squid and everything, all the squid drops into the center here, where there's going to be hoppers that are going to pick them all up and like put them in a chest. The actual squid dropping part will stop at level 45 or 46, right about here, and then they'll have a drop that goes from there down to the base here. You don't have to be quite that deep. Let's get our bed up here again. You don't have to be quite that deep with the dropper for squid. The thing is that this might occasionally, from what I've read on the message boards, might occasionally have drown spawn in it as well. So this longer drop helps get rid of them. So if we, occasionally we might have a little bit of a drowned loot drop in here, as well as just the squids. But it is supposed to be fish proof, so we shouldn't get any salmon and that kind of stuff. spawning in it, like what you've seen right outside in the river here. Okay, so that's where we are up to. Next up, I'm going to start digging the next pit over here. As we say, plenty of squid still, plenty of squid. So they should all be spawning inside this chamber, inside these two chambers, once I get them up and running and get all this river and all dried up. Oh, and that's the other thing, is we've got to go 128 blocks in all directions and make sure that all the water within that area is dried up. You see that T right over there? You see it right there. That's 128 blocks from this edge, from that cobblestone edge out. There's 128 blocks to that T. And fortunately, I was thinking I was going to hit the bay. There's an ocean right over there, and I was thinking it was going to hit the bay of the ocean, but it didn't. It stayed just the side of it. There's a little small marsh over there. Just so you can see the trees with the creepers and vines on them. There's a small marsh that it will just catch the corner of, but it won't have to go any further than that. And then on top of the great sand mountain there, you see our next T. That's the bottom range. And that one is measured from the bottommost edge of cobble, goes 128 blocks, and it goes to there. So I'm going to also have to measure 128 blocks in that direction and 128 in that direction. And once we get those, and once we get these two things dug out, that's going to be my next project, will be to start drying up the river. Right now, I don't know if I'm going to do it with sand, because, you know, sand might be a little bit hard to come by. I might have to search around for it a bit. Or if I will borrow some sponges and do it that way. We'll have to see how it goes. So that's the update for how things are going right now. And we will see y'all again when we've either got the river dried up or got the next pit dug out and is ready to start on all the redstone stuff down at the bottom. So we'll see you then.